about the suspect in terms of any type of prior law record, I guess?
I think Wetumpka had a prior recent couple of days before misdemeanor warrant on this individual, and as early as I think the day before yesterday, I believe Haley's stepfather had registered a complaint, an harassment complaint about some things that this gentleman, Mr. Bean, had supposedly left in the mailbox that caused him some concern regarding Haley. And we have a report on file about that. There's no warrants at this time, I don't believe.
Not to be funny, but was it a dead animal? Was it a gun? I mean, what was it?
No, it was just a letter.
A letter, okay. Could you go back, the 25-year-old to 17-year-old, that's kind of a gap there. I know you said they were boyfriend and girlfriend, but was this a situation where they met on the internet, or how long had they been dating and that sort of thing?
I have no idea on that, Brian.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, I know they talked with the mother and well, people on both sides of the families. And Chief and I just left the house just a while ago when we told her we were going to be talking to y'all. And there's things we're finding out. I think both sides of the family are telling us that he had some mental issues. And
both sides are saying that?
Right. Okay. We talked to people that's on his side of the family, and I think we talked to some people on her side of the family, and I think both of them in agreement that he had some mental issues. I think he was diagnosed as bipolar.
Okay. Was this a situation before y'all got there at the first call, had she just broken the news to him that we need to break up, and then it all sort of happened, or is this something that she told him a few days ago and he just got pissed? And
well, from what we just found out a little while ago, we know they were having trouble as late as last Sunday. I think there was a blow up that they had last Sunday that involved some things, and we're just finding that out. But there's
in which you
I'll probably know a lot more tomorrow than I know today. But I'm the more and more we talk to these families, we're gonna find out more.
Where did he reside?
Pike Road down in Montgomery.
Pike Road.
Right. And I think his people, his mother and some of his brothers and sisters lived up here, not far from where the victim lived.
Did he work for a living?
I'm not sure about that.
Okay.
Is there any truth, Bill, that there was a restraining order that was brought against him prior to this?
What was the misdemeanor warrant for that you had mentioned?
Domestic violence, reckless endangerment.
And was Haley the victim?
She was.
And that was a couple of days before.
Correct. I believe the warrant was signed on November 30th.
No.
The report that we took, the harassment about the items in the mailbox, that was on the 1st, which would have been the following day.
Can you tell us, as far as you know, how many times was Bean shot by your special op? How many times was he actually shot?
I believe in the span of probably a second to a second and a half has been described by everybody that was out there. I believe we will probably show the evidence to probably be 6 times.
He was shot 6 times?
Give or take a shot. Could be 5, could be 6.
Okay. And all of these bullets came from your people? In other words, not a combination of Wetumpka police or?
No, all of these rounds came from one individual, our point guy.
Oh, okay.
Our guy that's on point. When it would be hard to describe, but when you're coming down a hallway, they're not coming in threes. They're lined up behind each other, and this is the point guy that would actually make the initial contact. And he's merely trying to see hands and trying to pretty much stop the threat.
I mean, he just opened up, let it rip when he saw Bean with a shotgun towards him.
No, he's there trying to save the girl's life. He's there. He's intent on saving the girl's life. And like I said, 207 times in a row, we've been able to go and exterminate that problem from the point of whoever has a weapon drops the weapon, or they see that, hey, just a mere show of force that's there, or a flashbang going off your house, they just stop. They'll drop the weapon, throw the weapon down,
Did he first order him to drop the weapon?
Oh, yeah.
So he made the offer.
Let me see the hands, and this guy, you know, the shotgun was, you know, near her head,
And then he shot.
or at her head. It was almost simultaneous, that's what my understanding is.
Because he-
everybody heard the rounds went off, it was like, bang, 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 and that's it.
But because, and I want to be correct on this, but because Bean didn't drop the weapon is when your guy opened up?
Well, if my guy does not fire, and he fires, then I'm sure we would have some serious problems on saying, hey, had a chance to save a life there, so.
I see.
We could very easily be sitting here in that first round in the threat, and she would be okay. But you know, a lot of times, even though you take a round, you're able to fire a round.
Well, how's your man doing today emotionally?
Well, that's something we talked about last night. Something we talked about this morning, and you know, it's nothing that I'm sure he came on duty last night and wanted to happen. But I appreciate you asking. But as far as any psychological counseling or anything, that's something we always offer. I think he's going to be okay. I want to let y'all know the guys that are in that particular situation are not guys that come out here that just got out of the academy or been working 2 or 3 years. The guys that are in that specific position are guys that's been working 15, 20 years and more.
So he's a veteran.
Oh, yes.
Can you talk to us about how the suspect's family is feeling? You said you talked to both sides. What
Well-
are they understanding? Are they angry?
I think that's a good question, and I think from what I saw last night, and I think they talked to him too, I think it's a smorgasbord of anger, frustration, unbelievability, just some of everything. They just didn't want it to happen. They can't believe this happened. They're mad, and you know, I just don't know if I was in that position that, you know, that a law enforcement officer might not be the one you want to talk to right then. I don't know if it would be a chaplain. I don't know if it'd be one of their family members that they would feel more remorseful about talking to, but that's I hope none of us have to really go through something like that.
Sheriff, the law enforcement always talks to us about how very difficult domestic violence cases are, such as this.
Classic.
Did Miss Wingard and family do kind of what they needed to do in order to at least try to get started on some help? I mean, as far as making the complaints, did they do it the right way? As far as if people are having this concern that they may be in, you know, some kind of threat to their lives, I mean, is that they did what they needed to do?
They were unknown to me. I don't think anybody in our department really knew them other than on the first.
But as far as that's what I'm saying, they did.
Oh yeah, I think
They got
the
the threat.
domestic violence laws that are in place, you know, once these people are brought down here, there obviously going to be a cooling off period. Not to say that resolves the problem, but I think one thing that we haven't really mentioned here, and this is more and more prevalent, that we deal with more and more and more people that have some type of mental defects, whether it's bipolar or, you know, they're on some type of medication. You know, we just recently had a meeting with the county about, you know, the mental people that we got sitting in county jails. And really, the county jail is not a place for some of these people that's, you know, got some severe mental problems, but this guy obviously had some.
So have you seen a rise in domestic violence cases in the past year or so?
I wouldn't call it a spike. I think over a period of time, just by virtue of the county growing, it's going to slowly go, you know, peak up. But I don't know if Wetumpka's had a spike or anything, but
We have not.
yeah.
What was the reason, if you know, why Haley wanted to break up with him? Was it just because of mental issues? Was there something else? Had he slapped her, or was it an abuse?
I have no idea, but I can tell you of all the ones that we hear about, and some wind up cut, stabbed, shot, hurt, emotionally hurt. Everything's different. They're all different, and I've been told that it's possibly a situation where she left him, and he was having a hard time dealing with that. And I don't know that to be factual. That's just what we're being told.